It was Sunday afternoon and we were driving home from church. Sundays at our house are usually my favorite day of the week. It's our Sabbath, which means everyone does their own version of rest or fun. The kids will usually play or do some sort of craft, and my husband gets to sit down and read or play a game, and I finally exhale a little. My grandmother was staying with us at the time, and as we were headed home, she said something so kind. She told me that she didn't want us to cook that day. She wanted to treat us to takeout and even offered to pay. Such a sweet, thoughtful gesture, right? Who doesn't love a free meal? But then she said the words that tipped something in me. You just pick where we'll order from. Where do you want to eat? And it's funny that one small question, meant to make life easier, suddenly felt so heavy. I turned to my husband and asked, "What sounds good to you?" And he, being kind and easy, said, "Whatever you want," which on the surface is perfectly fine. He meant to be flexible. But inside my brain, I felt that quiet, ugh, one more decision. One more thing it felt like only I was holding. We kept driving, farther away from the city, closer to home, and I could feel that subtle panic building. Every mile meant fewer options. I could almost see the list shrinking in my head. Restaurants turning into drive-throughs, drive-throughs turning into grocery stores turning into cooking. And cooking wasn't bad, but I knew my grandmother hated it. And even though she wasn't going to be the one cooking, she was trying to give us a break too. She sees how hard we work and how busy we are. So suddenly, if we didn't get food out, I was worried she'd be disappointed. The truth is, it wasn't about food at all. It was about decision fatigue. I make so many choices every day for clients, for my kids, for our home, for my business, big ones, small ones, invisible ones. And that day, even a simple question like, "What do you want to eat?" felt colossal. Because food decisions have layers, right? It's not just what restaurant, it's what does everyone like? How far is it? What's open? What's fast? What's still going to taste good by the time we get home? And in that moment, my brain was just done. I remember sitting there in the car, staring out the window, thinking, I can't make one more decision. I'm tapped out. And it's a strange feeling. Nothing's wrong, but everything feels heavy. My husband was calm. My grandmother was being so generous. The kids were fine. And still, inside, I hit a wall. It wasn't about food. It was about being the one who holds the mental list, the invisible blueprint that keeps everyone else's day running and struggling under the weight of that list. And if you've ever hit that wall too, where even a small choice feels like too much, then this do-over is for you.
You're managing what you always do, but your brain feels scattered and you just can't seem to pull it together. The Busy Brain Do-Over from Steady State Co. is your space to recover, reset, and restart, proud of how you show up again. Because you're not the problem, and you're not alone. Here, you'll find real tools and honest conversations to help you feel capable, steady, and like yourself again. Here's your host, Candace David, a fellow busy brain who believes life doesn't have to run perfectly to run well.
Here's what I know. When everything in your life depends on your mental to-do list, it doesn't take much to overload the system. That's what the mental load is. All the invisible, ongoing work that it takes to keep life running. It's not just the things you do, it's the things you hold. Remembering to move the laundry from the washer to the dryer so you don't have to rewash it over and over again. Noticing the dog's food is almost gone. Remembering the dentist appointment, the field trip form, the birthday gift. It's the invisible brain space between every visible action. And when you pair that with your professional load, project deadlines, client needs, tech issues, coworkers, or students, your brain isn't just multitasking, it's multi-layering. You're running two operating systems at once, the home one and the work one. No wonder it feels impossible to shut your brain off. The problem isn't that you're not delegating enough. It's that even when you delegate, you're still managing the management. You're the one who remembers to remind. And after a while, that constant monitoring becomes more than exhaustion. It becomes identity. You start believing your value is in how much you can hold. That if you stop paying attention, something will inevitably fall apart. And maybe that belief was true for a season, when things were chaotic, when there wasn't anyone else to help. But when it becomes your default setting, it traps you. Because when life gets easier, when you finally have help, or your partner steps in, or you hire support, or medication steadies your focus, your brain doesn't trust it. That's what makes the mental load so sneaky. It doesn't show up as a panic, not at first. It shows up as fatigue, irritability, indecision, and guilt. It's not a time management problem, it's an emotional one. So if your brain feels full before the day even starts, it's not because you're failing. It's because you've been carrying too much for too long. Which is exactly why this week's do-over is about finding ways to set it down. Hi, fellow busy brains. If this episode already feels a little too relatable, make sure you're following the show so your next do-over is waiting for you when you need it. And if you're already part of this community, thank you. Truly, you are the reason more people are realizing they're not broken, their brains are just a little busy. Hit follow so you don't miss the next do-over we'll do together. All right. Let's talk about what to actually do when you've hit that wall where your brain feels full, but life still needs you to function. This week's do-over isn't another list or planner exercise. It's about taking what's invisible, all those mental tabs you've been holding, and giving them shape so your brain can finally rest. Think of it as your 3-step mind map reset. Simple, doable, and something you can start today. Step 1, map what you're carrying. Grab a blank page, not lined, just blank. In the middle, write what I am holding. Then start drawing it out, circles or branches for each area of life: work, home, family, finances, relationships, emotions, and jot down some tasks in some of those areas that are taking up that space in your head. Don't write down every task, just capture the themes of what's taking up that space. When you can see it, your brain stops spinning trying to remember it. Step 2, name what's actually yours. Once your map is filled in, take a minute to look at it and really look. Which of these things are truly yours to hold? And which ones have just landed with you because you're the one who notices first? Maybe you've been mentally tracking your partner's appointments, or remembering which coworker needs a reminder to do the thing, or worrying about how someone else will feel if you drop a ball. This step isn't about blame, it's about clarity. Ask yourself, is this mine to manage, or have I just been the one remembering it? You'll start to see how much of your mental load is invisible delegation, where everyone else gets to help, but you're still holding the overall plan in your head. And that's the weight we're setting down. Step 3, share the map, not just the task. Now that you can see everything you're holding, it's time to share the map, not just the work. Look at your mind map and pick one branch to lighten this week. Not all of it, just one. Maybe that's the family schedule, or dinner planning, bill reminders, or the next work project. The goal here isn't to hand someone a task and then keep mentally tracking whether they do it. That's how we stay stuck as the silent project manager. The goal is to hand over the thinking too. That might sound like, I've just realized I've been the one remembering this each week. Could you take it from here and handle the reminders too? Or, can you add this to your calendar? My brain's running out of sticky note space. Or even, let's keep this plan somewhere we can both check it so we're carrying it together. Because that's the real reset. When information stops being private property inside your head and becomes shared knowledge in your home, your relationship, or your workplace. Sharing the map turns responsibility into partnership. It tells your brain you don't have to be the keeper anymore. And that's what makes a load finally feel lighter. Here's your permission slip for this week. You're not failing because you can't hold it all. You're tired because you were never meant to. Carrying the mental load doesn't mean you're better at it. It just means you've practiced it longer. And you can practice something new now, letting people meet you in the middle. You don't have to track every moving part to prove your worth. You don't have to remember everything to be dependable. It's safe to be supported. It's safe to be seen. So when you start to feel that familiar tension rise, that it's easier if I just do it voice, pause and remind yourself. Ease is not weakness. Partnership is not failure. Rest is not indulgence. You don't earn peace by managing perfectly. You build peace by letting go of what's not yours to hold. This week, give yourself a mental do-over, not by doing more, but by doing it together. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If this episode helped you breathe a little easier, would you share it with someone else who carries more than others realize? You never know. Your quick text might be the reminder she needs to finally set something down. If you've been listening and thinking, I need this kind of reminder more than once a week, I've got you. Join my newsletter, The Weekly Do-Over. It's my short midweek note that drops right when life starts spinning again. Part pep talk, part permission slip, all real life. You'll get practical encouragement, behind-the-scenes stories, and simple resets that actually fit your busy brain. Go to mybusybrain.com/join because waiting until next week to get grounded again is way too long. All right, my fellow busy brain friends, take a breath, give yourself a little grace, and remember, you can always start again. That's what a do-over really is. Not perfection, just permission. Talk soon.